It's Tuesday, it is!
Hey everyone, it's Mimi and Weezus.
Hey guys, what's good?
Today we're back for another crazy episode. Today we're going to cover Johnny Lewis, or Jonathan Lewis. He just went by Johnny. Who is Johnny Lewis, you might ask?
Ooh, yeah. I bet everyone knows him as Half Sack.
From Sons of Anarchy.
And also, dude, my homie bagged the 10 of 10s, you know, Katy Perry.
Back when she was a 10, before she had her before the breakdown. Let's say before the breakdown. Now,
before the breakdown.
Yeah, now that she's like, I think she's better now that she's with Orlando though, or something. But
for sure.
But he was also in, and I have a list of other stuff that you might know him from. I shouldn't have scrolled away. He was in Seventh Heaven. He was in Drake and Josh. The Sausage Factory. He was in Cold Case. He was in Criminal Minds, Smallville, The OC. You might know him from that. But the thing that he is most popular for is Half Sack in Sons of Anarchy. And dude, let me tell you, when I watched Sons of Anarchy, Half Sack was like one of my favorite characters.
Ooh.
And he was only in the first 2 seasons. And then when he died, it was like devastating. You know, me and Miles watched it together and I was like, no, why would they kill off Half Sack? I had no idea why. But we're about to tell you why, you guys. We're about to tell you. So
it's like things about to go off the deep end.
Yeah, things are about to go crazy because I don't even know. Jesus came across a video, I think, on Reels, something like that, that was talking about it. And this is how we found out about it. And I had no idea that Johnny Lewis, you know, Half Sack, I didn't know he actually had passed away in real life. So that was a shock to me when I found out because I'm sure it was all over the place back then, but I was just too young and naive to even be watching any TV. Like, I didn't watch Sons of Anarchy until recent, when it was done.
Yeah, I know my older sister listened to Sons of Anarchy, and I'm pretty sure she told me about this, and I was just like, whatever, right?
Yeah, like, whatever, it don't matter.
It don't matter. She was like, Opie died, though. No,
Opie? Ugh, dude. That one hurt still to this day.
To this day.
Yeah, it still hurts, dude. That one was sad. That's why Miles had his hair long, because I was like, I miss Opie, dude. Grow your hair out. Not like when Opie got his hair too long, though, like the medium length.
The medium length, I feel you. All right, dude, so Johnny Lewis, dude, you know, apart from being, you know, in Sons of Anarchy, you know, they all ride these bikes, right? You know? But this guy, in his youth, was also a professional racer, or a motorcycle racer.
Yeah. And, see, I got confused because he got in a motorcycle accident back in 2011. This wasn't even during a race or during filming of Sons of Anarchy, because that's where I got a little confused, like thinking, like, damn, he's a professional motorcycle driver, and he's in Sons of Anarchy, so he probably had an accident, like, on set.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He was actually, like, driving on the road, lost control of his bike, and got in a horrible accident, right?
If you guys want to know what kind of bike, it was a Triumph.
Was it?
Yes. I had to look it up.
I had to see what kind.
Yes.
Well, the main point of our story here with Johnny, I'll tell you. So after he sustained hardcore head trauma from that motorcycle accident in 2011, he kind of went off the deep end. He got arrested several times between 2011 and 2012. Then in September 2012, he bludgeoned his landlady and her cat to death before he fell off the roof of her house where he had been renting from and died. And so it's like, what the hell? You know, everyone was like, said that before his accident, he was completely normal. No, you know, just normal mental health stuff like everyone has, you know, anxiety, whatever.
Yeah.
But nothing abnormal. Like, he was just a normal dude, dated Katy Perry. You know, he lived a normal life. He was an up-and-coming actor. He was in 26 episodes of Sons of Anarchy, dude. He wasn't like the main character of all the episodes or anything, but he played a crucial role in the film.
He was a main side character, dude.
Yeah, exactly. He's like one of those that you're like, where's Half Sack? You know, when's he coming back? Kurt Sutter, who, you know, is the producer, or he writes Sons of Anarchy and everything.
Yeah.
He did interviews later about his death and stuff too, which we'll talk about. But we'll talk about, I keep wanting to say Half Sack. We'll talk about Johnny's, like, early life. So, he dated Katy Perry from 2005 to 2006. Imagine how cool that would be, dude. Yeah, you're, like, just a up-and-coming.
Dude, and then she writes a song.
Yeah, and then you're like, what song did she write about him?
The one that got away.
Oh, that was him?
That was for him, dude.
Oh, shit.
She really loved this dude. But she was lucky she got away.
Yeah, she was. She is lucky he's the one that got away, to be honest. But, okay, imagine, dude, being in Drake and Josh. So if you remember him from Drake and Josh, he was one of Drake's bandmates in, like, just a couple episodes.
Yeah.
He was in there as a kid. And then in mid-2009, he was dating this girl named Diane, and he learned that she was pregnant. They were expecting their first child, right?
Yes.
They split up in 2010, April 6, 2010, when their daughter was born. And then they attempted to live together, and it just didn't work out. So he eventually moved out, and then... Okay, sorry, I was making sure I was reading this correctly. So he eventually moved out, and then they had, like, a huge, long custody battle, and Johnny lost in the end, you know?
And I want you guys to know that if you look up these pictures, like, during these custody battles, you can visibly see Johnny Lewis, how do I say, like, his state of health and, like, even his body. You know, you can see him start to deteriorate. He starts to look more skinnier, more tired.
That happens, dude. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Well,
so let me tell you. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
It seems like right here is where everybody starts to think that he started to get into drugs.
Okay. So, like, during the legal battles, and that happens, you know, that's, like, that would probably be something that would push, especially a famous person, because all this is happening in the spotlight, right?
Yeah, and all those courts are, you know, being like recorded on public TV, you know?
Yeah, stuff like that. Ugh, that's too much. And then there's articles everywhere.
Yeah, the paparazzi and stuff.
Now let's talk about his legal troubles. So he was arrested 3 times between 2011 and 2012, right? So in January 2012, he struck 2 men in the head with a bottle while they engaged in a fight, right? He pleaded no contest to charges of assault with a deadly weapon in that case. The second
hold on, Miranda. My man was defending himself. Two versus one? Come on. No, I'm just playing.
Well, I don't know what happened to cause the fight. If he started it, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So then the second arrest, dude, was 6 weeks later, after first with Johnny. He was accused of breaking into a woman's home, dude. Yeah, 6 weeks later, he was accused of breaking into a woman's home. And he pleaded no contest in that case as well.
You think he was this dealer, dude?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't even know if he was... This is the thing, is that I have no idea that he was even using drugs. So there's no proof that he was on drugs besides marijuana and alcohol that he had said that he used regularly. Considering these cases, a probation officer said that he was very concerned for the well-being of not only the community, but of Johnny Lewis. Yeah.
He was a danger to everyone.
He said that Johnny suffered from mental health issues and chemical dependency, is what he said. So that means drugs, right? But what kind? He said that if they didn't do something, he would continue to be a threat to the community wherever he lived. That's what the guy said.
Oof.
So then Johnny Lewis was released from jail on September 21st, 2012, just 5 days before he died. So this lawyer's right? Because he stays in jail, gets released. 5 days later, all hell breaks loose. So on October 30th, 2011, that's when Johnny suffered the injuries from, like, the high-speed motorcycle accident. The doctors recommended doing an MRI, and even Johnny's dad, like, scheduled 2 different tests for him to get an MRI, but Johnny refused to take them.
He's like, I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm
and
fine,
he wouldn't
dude.
even show up to the appointments.
He's like, the dragon in the back is telling me that not to do it. Okay, so we're not gonna do it.
Yeah, literally, that's what he was doing. He was like, I'm not doing it. I'm fine. But he hit his head so hard that they were like, bro, there's something, like, we need to scan your brain. He refused treatment.
Yes.
So then his dad, like, later on stated that, you know, they were really pushing him to go get help for his, you know, get psychiatric treatment. And they were like, please, please, please. And he refused yet again.
I wonder why, bro.
Then they said that at this point he started, and I'm going to quote directly from the article, it says, manifesting bizarre and illogical behavior from that point on. And then he started having all the legal trouble and stuff right after that accident. Before then, he wasn't doing any of that stuff. So then in court, they tried to, you know, push for rehab and say, like, well, he has a problem. So they actually tried to push for rehab for marijuana addiction is what they tried to do. And then the counselors, like, observing Johnny Lewis were like, no, we're rejecting that. So then they were like, okay, well, he's an alcoholic, so let's push for rehab for alcoholism then. And then at this point in August 2011, which is a month and a half or 2 months before he passes, right? They said, okay, well, he's well enough. We'll go ahead and give him outpatient status after they detained him for, and I quote, time served, right? Because he did time served in there. Well, then he was assured that you only have to spend a couple more days in jail, and then you get to go out, and you'll get outpatient treatment. Everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Did not happen, dude. It was like 2 more months, during which time that's when they said he suffered like an extreme and severe downturn in health and spirits. Yep. So then he gets released on the 21st of September, and then on the 26th of September, he dies because exactly what it says is, well, so Catherine Davis was his landlady, right?
Yes.
They were both found dead at the home in Los Angeles. Catherine Davis was really well known in Hollywood for like operating what's called the Writers Villa. It was a bed and breakfast for up-and-coming performers, directors, and whatnot in her home, basically. So Johnny had actually previously lived with her back in 2009, and he had just moved back in. Police were already called that day because Johnny Lewis violently attacked 2 of his neighbors already. He literally hopped the fence into their backyard, came at them,
and
then ran back.
How do I say? There was like their gardener.
Oh yeah.
He was the one that like fought him off, got him off his neighbor, and then he's the one that saw him like jump over the wall.
Yeah, he jumped back over the wall to his, or I guess Catherine's house, the home he was staying at. And then they heard Catherine Davis screaming, so then they obviously called the police at this point. And when the police arrived, they found Johnny Lewis's body on the driveway of the home.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna read you guys exactly what the cops arrived to, and this is gonna be pretty brutal. It's bad. Okay, so when they arrived, he already had a deep wound to his chest, multiple bruises and scrapes on his neck and arm. He was already in a state of rigor mortis, so he had been like instant death.
Yeah.
Instant death when he fell. He had skin slippage on his torso and arms, so basically his chest and arm, like the skin around it was moved. He had a huge gaping wound on his head. It was so deep that you could see the brain matter like on the floor and all around him, basically on the head. And then I'm gonna skip it real quick. I'm gonna go what the cops found when they went inside the house. They found that the 81-year-old lady had been beaten to death, and her head was caved in that it was unrecognizable. So he beat her to death, basically.
And not only did they find that, you guys, but they also found her beloved cat dead inside the house, or inside the bathroom as well. And they said that he had like beaten and kicked the cat so bad and then dismembered it in the process.
With his bare hands, guys.
With his bare hands. And he was kicking it and beating it so much that it got dismembered. He didn't use a knife or a weapon. He just bare hands.
And then more on Lewis. He also showed that he had deep nail marks in his throat and a slight form of strangulation. So it could have been like the lady probably may have gotten a rope or something, or like tried choking him, or someone tried getting him off the lady.
Yeah.
You know? And then he also had his deep tissue on his neck muscle, the one basically like where your artery is, was bleeding out. So he was already, regardless, even if he survived the fall, he was already going to bleed out from his neck. And he had his right lung was also collapsed, and most all his spine was fractured, and
that's crazy.
And it was all caused from the fall.
Well, and they said that, when you think about it, when they say he had slight strangulation marks and his own claw prints, on his neck, you would think, well, maybe he tried to hang himself, and then he ended up, jumping off the side to try and hang himself. But there was no evidence of attempted suicide. There was no evidence of a homicide. To him, it's not like someone broke in and did this to them and pushed him off. They ruled it an accidental death, his, and then obviously hers was a homicide, but they ruled his death an accident. So I don't know how he ended up falling off the roof, or if he intentionally just jumped. Like there's.
It seemed like when the gardener said he fought him off the owner. It seemed like this guy had like superhuman strength. And what the evidence shows is that maybe he was on PCP or meth, or a combination of the both. That's what they said.
Well, that's what the police said. So the police said that they believed he was on PCP or meth because of his superhuman strength at the time, because they literally said he was like throwing grown men and just beating, he beat the cat like that, he beat the woman like that. They got the toxicology report back, and it came back negative for any drugs and alcohol. No marijuana, no cocaine, no psychedelics, no antipsychotics, no PCP, literally nothing at all. Not a single drug, not a single alcohol, nothing. He was completely sober.
Oh, So he legitimately lost his mind.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Because that's what they do say. Like, the police said, you know, this guy had to be on something, and he just went crazy from the drugs. Nope. No drugs at all. No drugs. Well, and then we talked about Kurt Sutter earlier. So right after the death was announced and all that stuff, Kurt Sutter tweeted about the death, and he said, and I quote, "It was a tragic end for an extremely talented guy who unfortunately had lost his way. I wish I could say that I was shocked by the events last night, but I was not. I am deeply sorry that an innocent life had to be thrown into his destructive path. Yes, it's a day of mourning, but it's also a day of awareness and gratitude. Sadly, some of us carry the message by dying." That's what he said.
Oh man, so maybe like I don't know. A lot of people say he was on drugs, and then over here they did a toxicology report and nothing showed up. Like, even there's coworkers that say, like, you know, it sucks that he went down a dark path. Like, you know, they all automatically think it's drugs, but who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe the brain is stronger.
Well, and back to the beginning of the story when I told you guys that, you know, he was arrested for assaulting some guys with a beer bottle or a glass bottle. What actually had happened, so this was January 3rd, 2012, and I couldn't remember the story before, but he broke into an empty apartment after claiming that he heard someone crying for help. So he was hallucinating at this point, or lying. And then when he was in there, 2 men arrived. Lewis attacked them with a glass bottle. So they tried to fight back, and the men were able to restrain him long enough for the police to come get him. So, like, he had broken into their home, thinking that he heard someone crying for help, apparently. He spent 8 days in jail for that one. So then, after he was freed from jail, he tried to kill himself by slashing his own wrists. And in the autopsy report, they did say he had 2 scars on both of his wrists because he tried to kill himself. But they were already scarred up and stuff by then. It had been months. So, yeah, he also tried punching a man in public without being provoked. He tried to break into another woman's apartment. Like, he just kept doing literally insane things that made no sense.
Okay, so another thing, too, that they found in the autopsy was that he had a brain hemorrhage and deep tissue bleeding, even, like, how do I say, deep in the brain. So it could have been before or after.
Who knows?
Who knows, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, untreated brain injuries, dude, can cause a lot of bad stuff. Oh, and then they even mentioned that when he was jailed for part of that time, that they had to restrain him because he was slamming his head into the wall in jail. So just adding more fuel to the brain injury, right? You know
that maybe for him it was a strong mental health. You know, the voices might have been winning. Mm-hmm. You know, this is a really similar case to like Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, exactly. It is really similar. It's the brain gets hurt once, and you know, with Aaron Hernandez, it sucks because with injuries like that, you can't see it on an MRI. You can't do testing for it until they're dead.
Yeah.
With this, had he just said okay to the brain scan, he would have been fine.
Yeah.
But why was he refusing to the brain scans is the thing. Like, literally in the hospital after the accident, they were like, we need to do an MRI, and he refused it.
Who knows? Maybe he thought he was fine.
Maybe. I don't know. Like, that's
or at
kind
that
of
point, or maybe at that point, like I said, the mental health, you know, sometimes we think we're fine, even the voices in our head were like, yeah, you're fine.
Yeah. But I mean, like, if he wasn't struggling with his mental health yet and it was the accident that caused all this, like they're saying, like, I'm going to tell you right now, if I got in a motorcycle accident and then I went to the hospital and they're like, we need to check your head for bleeding, I wouldn't be like, nah, send me home. I'd be like, please scan my head, make sure, especially after watching Grey's Anatomy, dude, when Derek didn't get the MRI and he died.
Is that the homie that had internal bleeding?
Well, Derek is McDreamy, you know, and he was married to the Grey, and he got in the car accident, and then they didn't scan his brain on time, the doctor, so then he died. Yeah, ridiculous. But I mean, same thing here. Like, he had a serious brain injury, and it's kind of his fault because he refused treatment, and then it just kept getting worse and worse, and it's just wild to me that you can just have a break like that, you know. But what do you guys think? I feel sad for him, but I also he is at fault for refusing treatment because this could have all been prevented had he, you know, listened to his family and healthcare providers and sought out treatment that they recommended.
Alrighty, so you guys want me to throw in a twist real quick? Mm-hmm. One thing that I know that even looking this up is that Johnny Lewis's parents, so his mom and his dad, the landlady, and including himself, are all tied into Scientology.
Oh, I did see that, and so maybe that's why he refused treatment.
And maybe that's why they refused treatment, because they knew they were gonna, maybe, take him out, or put him to that permanent sleep coma.
Or does Scientology, like some religions, Scientology is considered a religion, right?
Yeah.
It is. Do they not allow? I know we did an episode on it, but I don't really remember as much because we've done so many episodes. Yeah. Do they not allow certain treatments?
No, does
Scientology?
No, he had to. He had to do it, bro, because his parents were even telling him, "Hey, yo, take this MRI."
Yeah, it literally says, according to the Church of Scientology, Scientologists are encouraged to seek conventional medical treatment or illness for injuries, including prescription drugs and medical doctors. So it wouldn't have been due to the religion, but it could have been due to something else,
Yeah, but and here's one thing you might have not thought about was, how did he have so much defensive wounds on himself? Why did he have so much bruising? Why was his neck ripped out? Why was he strangled? Even if you how do you say, arm choke someone,
Yeah.
It's not gonna leave a strangulation mark on there, maybe a red mark, right? But not a rope mark. What if they were there to kill him, right? And I don't know, what if the lady was there too, and they're like, oh crap, we're late, and then the people that tried killing him, he just fought them off, and then they pushed him off the roof. It
could be someone pushed him. The only thing that's weird that he did before that was that he had hopped over the fence and attacked those people. But I mean, technically that could have all been made up, because the only witnesses were the people who called the police. Those two people.
Yeah, and the gardener.
Yeah, the gardener and the neighbor, because that's who the two people he attacked was the one neighbor and the gardener that was out there. So yeah, I mean, you never know. There's always.
But they said that this happened in a span of 5 minutes, the fighting and the killing of the lady, and then him falling.
Yeah, it all happened that quick. So I don't know. It's really wild to me. The whole story is crazy. So tell us what you guys think. And if you have any other recommendations, like we said, drop them in the comments. And if you're listening on Spotify, make sure to download the episode. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. And we out. Yeehaw, brother.